This program is scheduled for one fall.
It's Thursday, it's 2 minutes past 9, and it's that time of the week again, ladies and sirs. It's time for the show that everyone is calling this programme is scheduled for 1-4, which this week is sponsored by Shovel. Shovel, because kids love a shovel. So, my name's SilentMark, I'm your MC for this evening, and we're going to be here for the next hour, talking wrestling towards your faces, and I've got two colleagues with me, as ever, so... we might as well start it, shall we? Introducing first. Journalist, Beyond Radio's very own resident, author of Holy Grail, and the very, very poor man's Paul Heyman. It's Greg the Truth Lambert. Why aren't you on? I think you've pulled a... I don't know, you've pulled the microphone thing out. Is that better?
No.
No?
I'm getting silence, mate!
We'll work this out in a second.
Running repairs.
Evil Loose is going to run repairs now, although I'll introduce him in a second. What about that one now?
This better be working.
There we
now.
go, it's working now.
Do you know what? I'm not in the best of moods anyway. You know, I've got my game face on.
Right.
It's 48 hours before Alpha Omega Wrestling Golden Chance at the Winter Gardens.
Yeah.
And the big match, the match that will make history, which I'll talk about a bit later on in the main event.
Right.
But it's just been a bad day.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a bad day. I mean, not only is my little boy going off to university this week, and I'm going to miss him terribly, but supposed to be having a luxurious new bathroom installed at Lambert Towers. Plumber comes round today, and he couldn't find my stopcock.
I hate it when that happens, don't you, Lou?
Never had that problem, to be honest with you.
Couldn't turn me water off. Delayed it by a day. I don't know.
It's just unfortunate, isn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah. So anyway.
At least you got more food in the fridge, though.
It's true.
Presumably.
One more day of showering, I suppose, before, yeah. But anyway, no, I'm not in the best of moods, really, so you best watch your step.
Fair enough. On that note, introducing his opponent. Human, kind of, co-host and co-creator of Another Monday Evening Show, Alpha Omega Wrestling interviewer, and poster boy for the extra value cheese ball, it's Eva Lewis.
Cheese ball?
Yeah.
What's an extra value cheese ball?
It's a really, really cheap ball of cheese.
Okay.
I really enjoyed coming up with them today.
That's where the value is. Is the cheapness?
Yeah.
Not the size.
Well, yeah, it's cheap for the size it is.
How big a ball of cheese are we talking about here?
2 kilos.
Is it like an Edam?
No, it's 2 kilos of cheese.
That's a lot of cheese.
It's a lot of cheese.
How much is that?
£2.50.
That is value right there.
Extra value cheese.
Okay.
I mean, fair enough. It tastes like, kind of the sweat of an old sock, but it's cheese.
Also known as Baby Bell.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, I'm on board with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you have a good week, Lee?
Yeah, it's been good.
Good.
It's been very good. Thank you.
A lot's happened in the world of wrestling this week.
So much.
So much.
So very much.
Got a big show today.
Not that big show.
No, you haven't got the big show.
It's the big show. Yeah, we
I always picture Vic Reeves at the back singing that.
Okay. In the club style.
Yeah.
In the style of the club singer.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's just me.
Yeah.
So, what's been on your radar this week, Evil Lewis? What's been on your evil eye?
Cruiserweight Classic just happened.
It did.
That was a thing.
It has been now a thing.
It's no longer a thing.
No.
Some would say mercifully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
what were your thoughts on it?
Mental? I don't know. We now have, which was kind of a surprise, Triple H announced that the winner of the tournament would also be crowned the first WWE Cruiserweight champion.
Right.
The winner of the tournament, for those who don't know,
was a high street boutique.
He was a high street boutique.
TJ Perkins. It sounds like a high street boutique, doesn't it? Sounds like the kind of place you'd buy, sort of middle of the road.
He's right to be
clothes for your wife.
See, now you've said that, isn't there actually a shop called TJ Perkins?
I'm pretty sure there is.
Yeah. I have to look that one up. I wonder what they sell.
But at least it wasn't at least it wasn't the wrestling pensioner that won.
The wrestling pensioner?
The senior citizen in a mask. Grand Metalik.
Oh, God.
Where's Grandpa Metalik? That's what I want to know.
Do we have a tumbleweed sound effect, Mark?
It's probably in the same place as Zack Sabre Senior. We never see him. Why is he Zack Sabre Junior?
Because his dad was obviously Zack Sabre.
Zack Sabre Senior. Clearly.
His granddad was Zack Sabre the Elder.
Exactly. And they were friends with Gran and Grandpa Metalik. And it was. I just hope that after Gran Metalik lost to TJ Perkins in the Cruiserweight Classic final, he didn't bake TJ some cookies and then take him and play on the swings.
I've got no words.
The best thing to do in this situation is let him get it out of his way.
Yeah.
And then we can go on and talk wrestling.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he moves well, I'll tell you what. He moves well for an Olden. And it was, I tell you what, the two semi-finals of the Cruiserweight Classic, I thought were really good matches. It really were two matches: Gran Metalik versus Zack Sabre Jr., Mexico versus Great Britain, and then TJ Perkins, the surprise winner, some may say, of the Cruiserweight Classic, representing the Philippines, versus the tournament favourite Kota Ibushi. Was a great match. And I'm not normally the biggest fan of that style of match, but in this instance, I thought that in both semi-finals in particular, all four guys did a really good job of making me feel like it was important, that they really wanted to win. This is what wrestling is all about. It's about a contest. It's about making the audience believe that, suspend their disbelief and make people care about who wins and who loses. And I thought all four guys did a great job. I think to the point that actually the final was a little bit of an anticlimax. Particularly, I think, with TJ Perkins winning. I don't think he was WWE's first choice, Lewis. I don't know whether you would go along with that. It felt a little bit like a third-place playoff, the final. I
think everybody expected Kota Ibushi to win. He was probably the clear favourite from the start. He's known as one of the best wrestlers in the world. Arguably the best wrestler from Japan who isn't currently signed to WWE. And as far as the story goes, WWE did offer him a long-term contract a number of weeks ago. He declined that offer. Clearly he'd preferred to go back to Japan, carry on wrestling, over there. And so clearly they're not going to make him the Cruiserweight champion because he doesn't work for them.
Same with Sabre
basically.
Jr. Same with Zack. I think Zack, from what I've heard, I don't know this for definite. I will be seeing Zack next weekend at PCW, so I could possibly ask him. But as far as I'm aware, he's decided not to go to WWE yet. I think yet may be the operative word. So, yeah, there was always going to be. It was highly unlikely, if they were going to have a Cruiserweight champion on Raw on Monday night, it was going to be either Ibushi or Sabre Jr. It was always likely to be Perkins or Gran.
But if you're working the British independent scene, why would you had an offer from WWE? Why would you turn that down?
Well, he may have his reasons, and he may have legitimate reasons that we don't know about. So, yeah, that's down to him. But I think it was likely once it got to those two in the final. I did feel like Perkins was going to win. I think WWE for their first Cruiserweight champion would want someone who was an English speaker, and somebody particularly after going through that tournament. You'd want to have somebody who, at the end of it would do the promo without the situation that we had after the semi-final where the two 4-foot interchangeable ring announcers, one of them was translating, but never actually translated it back into English.
No.
So we didn't have a clue. We understood what Gran Metalik was being asked, but we didn't know what he was saying in response. So I'm sorry, if you're going to have the job of an interpreter, please do it better.
It's a two-way thing, interpreting, generally speaking.
Yes.
Ideally. I mean, talking about, you got Zack Sabre Jr., who obviously is, he does the British classic sort of world of sport style very well. But then we know for a fact that they have coming to Raw in the Cruiserweight division, they've got Jack Gallagher, who arguably did a better job of getting the British style over than Zack Sabre Jr. did. Certainly in his first appearance in the tournament.
Well, that's right. I mean, you've got people like, with hindsight, possibly, I think WWE may think now that perhaps somebody like who was eliminated earlier in the tournament may have been a better bet for a Cruiserweight champion. I don't know. I'm not, someone like Jack Gallagher or Rich Swann or Brian. I mean, if Brian Kendrick had won it, can you imagine the reaction there would have been in the Full Sail Arena? The emotional tale of Brian Kendrick winning it, coming back to the WWE in his late 30s after his career at the top flight, looked to be over. That would have been a great story.
Yeah,
but now these
maybe.
guys are going to be on Raw, and they're going to get a great opportunity. I'm taking nothing away from TJ Perkins. I mean, I didn't realise until today. I'd completely forgotten, and I think we discussed it earlier in the car, Lewis, and you'd forgotten as well. This guy used to be manic in TNA.
Yeah, I actually
and he
totally
used to be
forgot
suicide
about that.
in TNA.
I totally forgot about that.
And he was Puma in Ring of Honor as well. And he's been around for ages, and they've just kind of let him be himself, told his real life story about being a kid with a Filipino background, grew up in LA, he was homeless for a time. Really good feel-good story, and, good luck to him.
Tell you what, Dixie Carter must be crying into her cornflakes this morning, or must have been, waking up to that news.
Quite possibly,
that
yes.
Someone that basically didn't really get used much in TNA is the first WWE Cruiserweight Champion. Also, you've got AJ Styles, which kind of segues us quite nicely into BackLash. At BackLash on Sunday night, AJ Styles became WWE World Champion.
He did, and we kind of predicted it on this program is scheduled for one fall over the past couple of weeks. We've been very impressed with AJ Styles' performance in recent weeks.
Yep.
Not so impressed with the performances of Dean Ambrose. It's all very cordial at the moment, isn't it, Lewis, between myself and you? It won't last. And yeah, he thoroughly deserves it. He thoroughly deserves to be the WWE champion. And
I'd rather anyone than Ambrose.
Well done, AJ.
Absolutely.
And Ambrose turning heel, as they say in the wrestling business, turning bad on SmackDown, possibly.
It looks that way.
He attacked John Cena.
Yeah.
And he looked right. His whole mannerisms have been looking a little bit arrogant over the
I was
past
going to say,
weeks.
didn't he have for a while that kind of air of nonchalance, just like, I don't really care about anyone? He already seemed like he was turning that way anyway.
It felt that way at SummerSlam in his match with Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
I thought that at the time his mannerisms were very... It was almost like Ziggler was beneath him. I didn't like his demeanour in that match at all. And I don't think it did anything for Dolph, really. But also... I think it's been coming, and I don't think it's a bad decision. I think, they seem to be with his old Shield partner as well, Seth Rollins. They seem to have sort of pushed him now towards the old white hat. He seems to be kind of like a good guy. He seems to be the baby face in the feud with Kevin Owens.
More so, it's a little bit ambiguous, but definitely, more so than he was in the past before his injury, and when he first came back as well. I think that if Ambrose is turning heel, good, basically. Maybe that'll make him a bit more interesting. Maybe he will now start acting like the lunatic that they claim he is. Because once again, having the announcers tell us repeatedly what a lunatic he is and how unstable he is doesn't make him crazy. When he doesn't portray those actions with his character, just no, I don't believe it. But that when he suddenly, I guess, ostensibly snapped and turned on John Cena, okay, now you're showing us some crazy behaviour.
Indeed. I mean, you think back to Steve Austin during the Attitude Era and all the renegade, the reckless things that he did, and he wasn't even particularly portrayed as that type of character, but that's what I want to see from Ambrose. If he's meant to be the outlaw, he needs to be doing some of these, out there type of things. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. This is bizarre.
It's
probably not
very
very entertaining to listen to. This me and Lewis agreeing.
I feel freaked out. I need to go and have a wash.
Calm down. It's all right. It's okay. But
Backside was a very, very good show.
It was.
It was a very, very good show.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Sorry. I keep on getting it wrong.
Did you actually watch it?
Yeah. It was a fantastic show.
Go on then. What was the opening match?
The 6 women's Battle Royale thing.
It wasn't a Battle Royale.
You know what I mean.
6-pack, flat pack challenge.
Exactly.
For the,
it was the flat pack challenge,
Yeah,
sponsored by Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Team DIY. It was. And who won? Who won the women's 6-pack challenge and became the inaugural SmackDown Women's Champion?
My girl Becky Lynch. My girl Becky Lynch.
I bloody won the title! I'm so happy right now!
It's great to have Becky on the show.
It is, yeah.
But I tell you
Did
what.
us proud.
Anyone, and you can go to the hashtag TPISFOF. It's not a swear word. It's an acronym. It stands for This Program is Scheduled for One Fall. That's us. Go to our Facebook page, and you can actually you can watch or listen to, or whichever you prefer, last week's episode through the power of YouTube. And you will notice my advice to Becky Lynch when I wanted to make Becky win again. I gave her all this great advice because she was losing all the time. And what happens?
She wins.
Within days. That's why I am the greatest manager in British wrestling of all time.
All right, Paul.
I think that's debatable.
And I'm not a poor man's Paul Heyman.
I mean, you've got the cap on and the headset. I mean, headphones.
Yeah.
I am wearing.
There's a bit of resemblance there.
I'm wearing this cap in tribute to my late friend and colleague Chris Travis. So please do not, make fun of my cap.
It's a snapback, though. Is that a snapback?
It's a snapback. I understand that's the technical term.
Yeah.
Look, I thought they were going to put the webcam on the top of my head again. I didn't realise. that the monkeys in the truck were on holiday. I thought they were going to put the webcam, and nobody wants to see that again. So I thought I'd wear a hat.
So you chose a snapback.
It's stylish.
If you're like 16,
and it matches my
shirt,
salmon check shirt.
That's not even salmon.
Look, I'm looking good, right? I need to look good because in 48 hours' time, I'm going to be the manager of the man who ends the stick streak and becomes the Alpha Omega Wrestling Champion. And, I'm going to have bragging rights around these parts.
Okay.
So there we go.
Well, we'll see, won't we?
We were talking, just one other thing I just want to mention. There's two things I want to mention, actually, about wrestling this week. And one of them was, we talk about Dean Ambrose and we talk about Seth Rollins, but
yeah,
they may be turning them, but they'll never turn Roman. Doesn't matter what Roman does. Vince will not turn Roman. Even if Roman...
Surely you need to have a personality before you can be turned.
Well, I don't know. The fans have been booing this man since time began, it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've been booing John Cena since time began.
Yeah, but it's more of an affectionate boo now for John Cena.
Yeah, I think that there's a reluctant respect now from even the kind of the hardcore fans for John Cena.
We spoke about that the other week.
SmackDown this week was from Philadelphia, ECW's old stomping ground. And even then, you had adult male voices chanting Cena, Cena, Cena in Philadelphia.
As it gets older, I liken this to when I was a young man, not that long ago. I used to watch a lot of snooker, and when I was growing up,
high
watching
octane
snooker,
stuff. Then
high octane stuff. It's very, very relaxing and good for the soul. And in the 80s, a gentleman you may know him, Steve Davis, was the world snooker champion. He used to win all the time. I could not stand the guy. I really, really disliked him because I couldn't stand the fact that he was boring and that he was always winning. But as he got older and he started to lose, and he started to become a bit more of an engaging character, I started to like him, started to respect him. And I think the same thing is happening with John Cena. I think that's exactly what's happening with John Cena, and particularly with the fact that he lost to AJ Styles clean. He lost that big match clean, and it was a great match. I think the wrestling fans, are starting to respect him in his age. The same people who disliked him, like Lewis says, are coming to respect him. But Roman... No. Roman is just out and out despised by everybody. But Vince will not turn him. It doesn't matter what Roman does. Roman could have dropped the weight on Vince's quad. It might have been him who was responsible for Vince's injury this week. He could sprout horns and a tail. He could join the Ku Klux Klan. He could eat a child.
He couldn't, mate. He couldn't.
No.
I promise you he
He
couldn't.
could eat a child, and they'd still say, no, this man's the guy.
Now that's a gimmick right there.
It is, yeah.
They'd
The
still
child-eating Klansman, Roman Reigns.
But he was still, still wouldn't do an actual wrestling angle to turn him into a bad guy, because they just have this perception that he needs to be either this cool in-betweener or an out-and-out babyface. But he's not selling the merchandise that Cena does, so I don't get it.
It's okay, though. It's okay. I mean, because part of the hate for Roman Reigns is the fact that they were forcing him down our throats as the top babyface in the company. They seem to have backed off on that one. Since his wellness policy violation, they seem to have backed off, and his star isn't shining quite so brightly in Vince McMahon's eyes, it seems, as it was a few months ago. I mean, with regards to talking about him never turning heel, I think he's displayed quite a lot of heelish tendencies lately. At SummerSlam, when he was attacking Rusev for pretty much no reason, almost unprovoked. I don't know.
Yeah, but the only thing that's ever going to turn him fully fledged, to make it obvious and play off what's actually been going on over the past couple of years, is if he grabs the microphone and tells the fans where to go. That's the only thing that will do it, and that's the thing that I believe will just tip him over the edge and turn him into the star that WWE want him to be.
Yeah.
But they'd rather do it with Ambrose, and it was quite a tepid. If that was a heel turn on Cena, it was just You saw it coming a mile off because the way he was stood there like a petulant child for 3 minutes before he attacked him.
With his bottom lip stuck out.
I don't understand why they don't do the obvious. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I think he's got a lot more credibility as a mid-carder for the time being, and maybe he can earn some of the fans' respect doing that, as John Cena did. It's going to take him a while. And here's the thing. So on Raw this week, the main event was Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. And I think that, for me, that was a really solid, enjoyable match with quite a lot of excitement and drama. And part of that, for me, was, oh, God, is Roman being inserted back into the main event picture here or not? And there were a lot of near falls. Again, a lot of, is he gonna be made part of the upcoming title match moments? He lost that match, and then basically as a result of Rusev's interference. I believe. I don't know. I've watched a lot of wrestling this week. So there you go. I laughed out loud because I think my actual words that I shouted at the TV were something along the lines of, "Get back to your feud with Rusev, Reigns." That's where he belongs right now.
You shout at the TV.
Who doesn't?
It's true.
Who doesn't? So that's where he belongs currently. He's feuding with Rusev for the US title. I don't think the fans would hate him so much as the US champion.
Well, that remains to be seen. I personally don't think that anything will take Roman off this path that he's on unless he turns to the dark side. I can give him some tips. Roman, if you're listening, get in touch. Get your people to call my people, and we'll talk.
Did you not know he's listened every week so far?
Well, obviously they're all listening.
They are.
Because Becky Lynch was listening, and later on during the Fantasy Wrestling Report, I'm going to save somebody else's wrestling career, just like I saved Becky Lynch's.
No, fair enough.
Who are you going to make great again this week? We're going to find out.
Well, it remains to be seen.
I'll come up in a second. We're going to play a song. We'll be back in a second with more of this, and we've also got an email in, so we'll come back with that in a sec.
Yay!
Oh, we found Evil Lewis knows his stuff. He knows his themes.
I know things and stuff.
No, you know your themes.
I also know things.
Yeah, he does know things.
We're getting rowdy up in this.
Could you not have found something better than K-Quick's theme tune?
K-Quick.
We're going to have a lot of these, and we have to go through them at some point, so we might as well get some of them out of the way. There's one I keep on going to, which is Shooter, and I can't...
You can't do that.
No, I can't do it.
You can't play that, Mark.
I know. Although apparently there's a documentary coming out. No, there's a film coming out about him. There's a biopic coming out about him.
Okay.
About that whole
Almost
thing.
made a really inappropriate joke. Not going to do it.
No, don't do it.
Not going to do it.
No.
Nope. Yeah. How old is K-Quick? R-Truth. How old is he?
Massively.
He has been with WWE like forever.
And he
since the late 90s.
And he stole my nickname.
What?
He stole my nickname. The Truth.
No, his name is R-Truth.
No. Again, you don't know your wrestling history. I'm going to have to educate you one more time.
I totally know my wrestling history. When
he was in TNA, he was Ron the Truth Killings.
Here we go.
And he gave himself the Truth nickname 4 months after I debuted and started my wrestling career. So he was inspired by me as well. Another one.
Was he watching you, was he, when you started?
Must have been.
Sure. Because all the big American promotions are watching you.
They are.
Yeah.
Indeed, you need to go to my Facebook page and also the Alpha Omega Wrestling page to hear me talk this week and give some words of wisdom towards Sticks.
Had you been watching Blair Witch this week?
No.
Because that video reminded me very much of one of the Blair Witch things.
I was in a dark mood and it was a dark night.
I just thought you never learned how to change a light bulb and no one else was home to do it for you.
You don't understand psychological warfare, clearly, which is why you're
the meter run out.
A mere interviewer. No,
there you go.
Yeah. Look, I've had problems.
He needs to get his little plastic key and go and stick it in the meter and get his £5 emergency credit on.
Yeah,
that's all you had to do, Greg.
All you need.
I've had problems with the water, but I've had no problems with the power.
It looks like it.
It happens at your age.
Listen, I'm not Shinsuke Nakamura, thank you.
You watched with him?
I said I'm not Shinsuke Nakamura.
Okay, fair enough.
He has
definitely not. No.
We got an email this week. Says, "Dear Mark, Greg, and Lenny." Right.
Who's Lenny? And why do I never get a mention?
I think he means you.
What the hell's going on?
I think he means you. He goes, all right, when's Hulk Hogan coming back? I've got a bet with my dad who's going to win his next match with Booker T. Hope to see you all at Commodore Amiga Wrestling on Saturday.
What?
Fair enough. I think he's got everything massively wrong here. Yours and still the hottest free agent in community radio, Keith Slater.
Keith Slater.
Keith Slater, yeah.
Keith Slater. Well, Keith, I tell you what, you want to be the mascot. You want to be the mascot for this program is scheduled for 1-4. Well, you know, your near namesake this week, Keith Slater, became the SmackDown Tag Team Champion alongside Rhino at BackLash, and he gained himself a contract. He's no longer the hottest free agent in professional wrestling. So I think that it is only fair, it's only right and proper that to coincide with Heath Slater's success, Keith Slater, from this moment forward, we...
No, you can't do that. Really?
Wait, let him finish. What were you going to say?
All right, go on.
Well, you know, you cut me off now.
All right.
So it's your fault. It's your fault, Mark. It's your fault. It's your fault. You've just shattered a young man's dream. That's what you've done.
Do you really want him around the studio?
He doesn't even know my name.
Exactly.
I don't want someone who doesn't even know my name around the studio.
There we go.
Stupid.
So aren't you glad I cut him off?
Yeah, obviously.
There we go.
Okay.
People can still hear you.
What?
Hey?
Can we not give him work experience at the very least? Come on.
We'll see.
Beyond Radio, we're always looking for volunteers.
I think he needs life experience, not work experience.
We'll see. We'll see what happens on Saturday.
On Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to turn up to the, what do you call it? Commodore Amiga
Commodore Amiga Wrestling, yes.
I think he's got the wrong place.
Me too.
Well, he's clearly a child of the 80s, so, you know, he can't be that bad.
You never know. So yeah, we'll see him on Saturday and we'll see how it goes. One thing that we need to, I don't think we've given Becky Lynch enough kind of praise for Saturday. That match was amazing.
Yeah, but I believe Alexa Bliss was the MVP of that match. Personally.
Fair enough.
And Carmella. Carmella was excellent.
Come on.
Stop dissing Carmella. She's
Carmella?
been great. She's been great. And so is Nikki. And to be fair, so's Nikki Bella. And, you know, they've all really stepped up for me.
They were all really good.
They've all really stepped up, the women.
The women in Raw, I couldn't
Even Luminous Naomi.
I've got I'll tell you in the car on the way back. I've just got a thought about that, her whole entrance. Don't think they should go do it.
It's awesome. What are you on about?
No, it is awesome, but do you really want a kind of black light in front of that crowd? It looked like a Jackson Pollock painting. It wouldn't be good. So anyway...
What are you suggesting about the WWE Universe, Mark? What are you suggesting?
The Raw Women's title, at the moment, I could not care less about. It's a SmackDown Championship for me.
I was having this conversation earlier. I was trying to remember which women were in the Raw Women's division. And it took me a while. I was like, so you've got Sasha Banks, who I wish she would just hurry up and turn heel because she is dire.
It's going to come. It's going to come.
We've got Bayley.
Yep.
We've got Charlotte. And then I was like...
the other one.
Dana Brooke.
That's the one.
Look,
oh, God, yeah. I forgot about her.
Two problems with it, right? Very good points. Two problems with the Raw Women's division. Number one, we've seen all the matches before in NXT. If you've watched NXT over the past couple of years, you've already, been excited by the match between Charlotte and Sasha Banks and Bayley. So it doesn't actually... It's a shame because, particularly with Bayley, who's only just arrived on Raw, but it doesn't feel new. It doesn't feel fresh. I think that's a problem.
Yeah. You've got Nia Jax coming out looking like she's someone's mum who's made herself some wrestling gear and she's having a go.
Yeah, but then what's going to happen?
Which we've seen on NXT.
She's going to end up fighting Bayley, which we've seen on NXT.
Yeah.
And the other problem is bad officiating. Sasha Banks' shoulders were down when she pinned Bayley this week.
You're actually right there.
Yes, I saw that as well.
Double pinfall.
Should have been a double pinfall, make it a triple threat.
No,
I think Bayley should come out next week. And she's obviously, Bayley's far too nice to do this, I would say, but I think she should make the point to Mick Foley that that happened and it should be a triple threat match at what they're calling it now, Clash of the Champions.
Yes.
Clash of Champions.
Clash of the Titans.
Mick Foley keeps incorrectly referring to it as Clash of the Champions, but it's just Clash of Champions.
Very NWA from the old days. I know you never watched
NWA?
it. You never watched it.
That was
so
a hip-hop
pointless.
band, the name of which I can't... Yeah.
No, it was the predecessor of WCW in the 80s, and they had a Clash of the Champions.
But no, the SmackDown Women's division, much better. You've got Becky Lynch as the first SmackDown Women's Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Good for her.
Yeah.
She's, we all already know what she sounds like. And as of SmackDown this week, Alexa Bliss became the number one contender to that title.
Yep.
And Alexa Bliss looking not too shabby, dressed as Harley Quinn. on BackLash on Sunday, and again at SmackDown this week.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah, you disagreed with me about this. Yeah.
But no, I agree that you'd think it.
Okay.
Doesn't mean it's right.
It's totally right. You're supposed to be a fanboy of comics and comic book culture, right?
She wasn't.
What do you mean she wasn't?
She just wasn't.
She totally was.
She wasn't. Okay, name one bit of her costume that was Harley Quinn.
All of it?
What bit?
All of it.
Okay,
the hair, the makeup.
Okay, so was she in...
The blue and purple ring gear.
Blue and purple ring gear? She never wore blue and purple.
In the movie?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Even on SmackDown this week, Mauro Ranallo referred to her during her entrance as the SmackDown Women's Division's Harley Quinn.
Right. Okay. With that
on her Instagram, there is a post talking about how she looked good as Harley Quinn from the WWE makeup team who did the makeup job for her.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Well, in my eyes, then, this week for this program is scheduled for one fall. I have turned up as Mick Foley.
No, you haven't.
I have.
No, you've not.
I have turned up as Mick Foley.
Are you one of
Are you
Mick Foley's long lost son?
Yes.
Mick Foley has a long lost son. Did you know this?
No.
Right, listeners, email in, text in, let us know if tell Mark he's wrong. Tell him he's wrong, okay?
I'm not wrong.
Text us on 07399 085508 or email studio@beyondradio.co.uk. Email, text, tell Mark how wrong he is about the fact that Alexa Bliss was clearly doing a bit of Harley Quinn style cosplay-ish ring gear this week.
And if you
looking you think not entirely shabby doing it.
I'm not saying she looked bad.
No.
She just didn't look like Harley Quinn. And if you do think I'm wrong in saying she does look like Harley Quinn, also bear in mind that with that thought, Greg the Truth Lambert has tonight come as Lana from Archer.
What?
I don't actually know. The last 5 minutes have just completely gone over my head. I've literally no idea what you're talking about.
All right, fair enough. Greg, it's past 1:30.
It is.
What time is it?
It's time for Fantasy Wrestling Report. Play a jingle that you haven't played already.
Oh, hang on. I've got to get one. Which one? I've got a few.
Play a jingle that you haven't played already. You pick one.
Okay, I'll do that one.
Okay.
Ow, fantasy wrestling, fantasy wrestling, fantasy wrestling report. Fantasy wrestling, fantasy wrestling, fantasy wrestling report. Yes. 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 Yes.
What was that?
Did the last bit not give it away?
No.
Clearly, it was Ride of the
was it, Lee?
Valkyries.
No idea.
It was Daniel Bryan, clearly. Obviously.
Really?
Obviously!
It sounded like two...
Clearly! Are you tone deaf?
It sounded like two asthmatic hamsters.
Well, that's as may be, but it was still Daniel Bryan's theme tune. And it kicks off this week's Fantasy Wrestling Report.
There we go.
Oh, good, I've got some background music.
There you go.
Anyone would think you're actually professional, wouldn't they?
No.
Nobody
really
wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't. Week 4.
Go on.
Week 4 of Fantasy Wrestling, and what a week it's been. As we said before, it's been a pay-per-view week. That means big points on the SmackDown side. If you got SmackDown people on your team in the Fantasy Wrestling League, then you scored big this week. We already mentioned Becky Lynch becoming the SmackDown Women's Champion. She was the top individual point scorer this week with 9 points. A tremendous performance from our Becky, the Irish lass kicker. 8 points as well for AJ Styles in capturing the WWE Championship, and 8 points as well for our new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Keith Slater and Rhino. And what this kind of adds up to, well, what it adds up to is that atop of the league still are the Shining Wizards on 52 points, but gaining on Shaheen and his team after a phenomenal week where nobody got negative points on your team. A 29-point gain for Silent but Deadly. SilentMark's team are up to 50 points. They're only 2 points behind in second place.
Thank you very much.
It's a bit of a two-horse race now. Bit of a two-horse race. Third place is Mew What a Puss, Alan Rideout. And I have to say that I apologise. I apologise to Alan Rideout for getting it wrong. I didn't actually realise that you never meant to draft Shelton Benjamin, who was meant to be debuting on SmackDown, but then suffered an undisclosed injury and has not appeared and has lost 3 points for every week the Fantasy Wrestling League has been taking place. You actually meant to draft, and we clarified this on Facebook this week, Senior Benjamin, Matt Hardy's personal major domo, butler, battlefield preparer, whatever else he does. So Senor Benjamin is actually in Alan Rideout's team, and that means he actually gained a point this week instead of losing points. So
Yeah, you always get those two mixed up as well.
That's ridiculous.
No, that's the very easy mistake to make, to mix those two up. So that means that they're on 32 points. And Lewis, you've dropped to 5th. You had a rubbish week.
What?
Pathetic. Absolutely.
That's not possible.
Of course it's possible.
I've got an incredibly strong team.
Well, you
the
do.
Forces of Evil were picked meticulously because of their winningness.
Well, you
That's
do.
a word.
You do. However, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable are out of the picture at the moment because of Chad Gable's injury suffered at the hands of the Usos. So
Damn you, Busos.
They lost your points. They were your only chance of scoring big on the pay-per-view at BackLash, and they weren't even on it.
They were a no-brainer. They were shooing for the title.
And then Mick Foley's other long-lost son, Luke Harper, he's still... Where is he? We don't know where he is.
He's coming back.
He's coming back, is he?
Any week now.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't think we're going to see
So
him.
close.
I don't think we're going to see him at
Maybe
all.
next week.
I don't think we'll ever see him again.
He's coming.
I bet
he's coming.
I bet when the lights went out on SmackDown and it was Eric Rowan, you were really annoyed.
Yeah, I was like, come on, Luke Harper, Luke Harper, Luke Harper. Lights came back on. God damn it! Damn it, Eric Rowan.
So there we are. Meanwhile, a really big week for Owen Lambert. Well done, Owen. I will explain why, because hashtag Go for Broke, his team have had a big leap this week, and that was mainly thanks to the star of the week who gained 10 points for Owen. He was the only man to draft this particular individual, and you have to give it up to the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe, for his quite heroic actions on NXT in destroying and laying out and putting on a stretcher not only the NXT Championship belt. Why did they put the belt on the stretcher? That makes no sense. Was the belt injured? No, the belt was fine. But Shinsuke Nakamura, or Spindly Nakamura, the king of wrong style, the man with the weakest bladder in professional wrestling, there he was, stood in the ring, shaking his leg. He wanted to go. Well, he went. He went on a stretcher ride to nowhere. Shinsuke Nakamura is out of the picture. And let me tell you something, Samoa Joe is a thoroughly deserving star of the week. I'd also like to say...
Wait.
What?
Not having it.
So Samoa Joe is the superstar of the week.
No, he's the star of the week. We don't call it superstar.
All right.
We're not the WWE.
Captain Nitpick. So the only person who's drafted Samoa Joe just ever so conveniently happens to be your son Owen.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
And a great decision it was, clearly, this week, because he gained 10 points for that decision.
I mean,
but that's nothing to do
we all
with
know
it.
about nepotism in wrestling.
No.
Yes.
No, there's nothing.
Hang on there's not a chance in hell that Samoa Joe is the superstar of the week.
Especially after the pay-per-view.
He wasn't even the biggest star on NXT this week. Okay?
No, I'm sorry.
Can I direct you to Bobby Roode's entrance on NXT this week?
What, his Camberwick Green entrance?
Did Samoa Joe get a rotating turntable to stand on? I don't think he did.
In his Terry Taylor 1992 robe?
Yeah, I don't think he had any of those things. You know why? Because he's not as big a star as Bobby Roode.
Well, Bobby Roode did very well this week. He won the main event of NXT and he scored 3 points for you and also for Owen.
Yeah, he did.
For Owen, who also drafted Bobby Roode. And also, congratulations to Owen. A great decision in drafting Andrew Everett, who, as we saw during the Delete or Decay
segment... He wasn't
segment,
on TNA this week. What are you talking about?
He was. Andrew Everett.
No, he wasn't.
And DJZ.
No, they were...
They were on TNA. Of course they were.
No, they weren't.
And they both gained a point. 1 point for Owen and 1 point for the underdogs, who were still bottom. But,
when was I watching a different program?
Matt Hardy, Broken Matt Hardy, referred to his monkeys as Andrew Everett and DJZ. No. So they appeared. They appeared in monkey form.
They're monkeys.
Their souls
they were
in
spot
the vessels.
monkeys.
They were in the vessels of the spot monkeys. Of course they were. So that counts in my book. So well done, Owen. Owen has climbed massive 20 points. He's up to 6th now in the league table. Congratulations, son. Good luck at university.
Well, who's the dummy of the week then?
Well, it's Dolph Ziggler.
Why?
What?
Well, because he keeps losing.
Yeah. That should have been louder.
Dummy. Yeah.
There you go. Why?
He's on a bad run. He's on a bad run, like Becky, really. And this is where we need to give Dolph a bit of help. Because Dolph Ziggler, he just cannot buy a win. And as we know, when I gave Becky advice, the next minute, she's a champion.
So you're going to make Dolph great again, are you?
Going to make Dolph win again, actually. Dolph, listen carefully. Remember these 3 important points. Number 1... hardly anyone who's an all-time great in wrestling wears tights. Shawn Michaels is one of the exceptions, but mainly you look at your Hogans, your Flairs, your Rocks, your Austins. People of that ilk, they wore trunks. wear trunks, Dolph.
So you think he should wear tiny pants, not tights?
Indeed.
Okay.
It'll help him win.
Personal thing, or
It'll help him win.
He does like a man in tiny
he does
pants.
like a man in tiny pants? Yeah.
It's true. It's historically proven. Secondly, Dolph, you're too angry. All this, you look at the pattern. He went off on one at Dean Ambrose, he got pinned. He went off on one at AJ Styles, he got pinned. He went off on one at The Miz, he got pinned. Whatever happened to the old Dolph Ziggler? Remember years ago when he used to wander around shaking hands and introducing to people? When he used to be a cheerleader? He needs to rediscover that positivity and that niceness and friendliness to his fellow man. Then he will win again. And thirdly, change your name.
Change your name?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be. It could be a subtle change. He could become, I don't know, Rolf Wiggler.
You having a laugh?
Derek Ziggler.
Wait. Dolph Ziggler?
Rolf
you
Wiggler.
wanted to change his name?
Rolf Wiggler.
This far into his career?
Rolf Wiggler. That's far better. Anything like that. Just change your name. Just a little.
All right.
I mean, fair enough. He's having a bad run lately, okay? He just needs to catch a break. He just needs to get lucky. At the moment, he's not going to... Because The Miz, there's no way The Miz is going to lose that title for the foreseeable future. So he just needs... I don't know. He needs something, I agree. But you can't be down on Dolph Ziggler. Come on. He is one of the hardest working members of the WWE roster. Okay? May I refer you to the Elimination Chamber debacle from a couple of years back, which was just a
Hang on a minute. Sorry,
You can't say that one.
I'm going to have to turn this snap back round because it just keeps bashing the microphone.
What can't I say?
That's better.
I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, there you go. That's better
I'm
now.
a professional. I know what I'm saying.
I like Liv Morgan now.
God, don't even get me started on her. Okay, the Elimination Chamber, okay? Everything that went wrong could have gone wrong, did go wrong. And he single-handedly held that match together. While everyone else was bumbling about the ring, clueless as to what they should do, he figured it out on the fly, was telling everybody, calling the spots, telling people what they needed to do, where they needed to be. Mm-hmm. He single-handedly carried that match, okay?
Stop breaking kayfabe.
What's kayfabe? What's that, Greg?
Carry on.
What's that, Greg?
Carry on.
How can I not break kayfabe when you're talking about it? Come on. Okay. He's a 2-time former world heavyweight champion. He's a 4-time intercontinental champion. You can't be. You can't.
I'm not down on him. But it's the facts are there. He keeps losing matches.
Yeah, but he.
So if he follows my sensible 3-point plan, it will make Dolph win again. You watch. He'll win on SmackDown. Right, I tell you what, we'll have a gentleman's bet. I bet you any money he's listened to the show and he'll win on SmackDown.
I don't want to shake your hand. I don't know where it's been.
Well, get rid of his
With
half-eaten mint that's on the table.
Yeah,
whose
is that?
That's a good
part.
yours.
Actually, no, it can't be yours.
So you think that if he changes his name after all these losses, he'll start winning?
Rolf Wiggler.
Your for the match on Saturday, your manager of what's his name? Nathan Cruz.
What's his name?
Research.
Yeah.
The next Alpha Omega Wrestling Champion, the man who will end the stick streak and go down in history, the show stealing Nathan Cruz.
That is something you've been saying for a long time now. Saying that this is the person who's got to end the stick streak. Never has
With
done.
a series of people that you've been representing.
Yeah, never has done.
Yeah.
So why not, a quick thought, if on Saturday Nathan does happen to lose, would you change your name?
Well, that's not really relevant.
What's it like, Greg the False?
I didn't really want to.
The falsehood Lambert.
No, I didn't really want to do this at this point, but I think how long is it to go on the show? 15 minutes to go.
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about Alpha Omega Wrestling Golden Chance, and we're going to preview what's going to happen this Saturday night at the Winter Gardens in Morecambe. But I'm going to have to now. I'm going to have to reveal some information which hasn't been made public.
Go on, Em.
And I think once I make this information public, those of you out there, Alpha Omega Wrestling fans, and people like yourself, Mark, and you, Lewis, doubt.
I'm the mediator. I've
are
got to give both
overconfident.
sides of it.
This guy sticks. He's not lost in 8.5 years. I kind of understand it. People think he's invincible. People think he cannot be beaten in Morecambe. But what you fail to understand is that Styx, and I've said this before, and I'm going to clarify, I'm going to quantify what I say. Styx is a physical wreck. Okay? The Styx who will step into the ring on Saturday night against Nathan Cruz, one of the premier athletes anywhere in the world today, he's going to be facing Nathan Cruz, 26 years old, in the prime of his life and career, never been better. Styx is not the same guy who wrestled 4 months ago against Johnny Fear, who wrestled 8 months ago against Joe Hendry, who wrestled 12 months ago against Chris Ridgway, who wrestled 8.5 years ago when all this started on April the 12th, 2008. You know, Father Time has passed and it's worn him down. His back is a mess. It's an absolute mess. You know, if you watch that match with Johnny Fear, it's available to watch on the Alpha Omega Wrestling Facebook group in full. You see the punishment that he took. 3 ram slams, 3 spinning spine busters right on his back. He took a pile driver really hard on his neck. Took a huge spear to the ribs. He was absolutely messed up. I don't know how he survived that match, but he did. And I think he used up the last little bit of his energy. I have it on very good authority. This has been revealed to me from talking to somebody, a volunteer at the theatre. This was covered up by Alpha Omega Wrestling. This was not made public. But after that match against Johnny Fear, backstage, Styx collapsed in the dressing room. Okay? He needed oxygen. And he was fine afterwards. I believe he's been making regular visits to his doctor because the back has been giving him trouble for a long time. You may remember he was supposed to be at Morecambe Mayhem in March. He was supposed to wrestle Big Damo, the Beast of Belfast. 4 days before the show, he pulled out.
That's true, yeah.
With a back injury. With a very bad back injury. And I believe the injury was so severe back in March. The reason why Styx pulled out of that show, again, I've got this on good authority, he tried to pick his 2-year-old daughter up. He couldn't even pick her up without severe pain. That's when he knew he couldn't wrestle the Beast of Belfast. Otherwise, the streak could be over now. But he came back against Johnny Fear and he gave it his best shot and he survived. But I think that was the last, that was the last little bit of energy. 8.5 years of victory after victory after victory has taken it out of him. It's my understanding he's going to have to have a pain-killing injection to wrestle on Saturday night, which is fine. Happens in football. There's nothing wrong with it. But, I'm just basically telling you facts. Styx is on his last legs. He's been a tremendous champion, a tremendous hero to the Alpha Omega Wrestling fans. But you know something, AOW fans? You're responsible for this. You and Alpha Omega Wrestling have continually put in Styx. People like you, Mark, people like you, Lewis, continually putting Styx on this pedestal and making him feel like he has to go out there and fight when he's in no condition to do it. And you're going to see on Saturday night that Nathan Cruz, the show stealer, when I say he's going to break the streak and steal the show, he may not only do that, he may actually end Styx's career. This could be the end of Styx on Saturday night. He doesn't have much more to give. And I believe that he has nothing left to give. And that will be proven by the show stealer Nathan Cruz. He will beat Styx. He will end the streak. He will become the champion. And he will make history. And you don't want to miss it. Because if I tell you this is going to happen, this is different. He's been worn down. And that is why it's different.
Do you not think that he would be a different animal because he thinks exactly the same? Do you not think he would be more dangerous because he thinks exactly the same?
Your body will let you down at a certain point, though. Those Alpha Omega Wrestling fans, those job seekers in the front row, if he locks eyes with them like he does it every single time and, tries to draw on their energy and tries to use them to fuel his comeback and to stay in there and survive and what he hopes will be a victory, you can't keep doing that. Every other sport, it's been proven, footballers can't compete at a high level past the age of 35. Boxers, when they get into their mid-30s, they start to slip, the reflexes start to slide, the faculties start to go, the hand speed starts to go. It's the same with wrestling. And Styx he's nearly 35, which I guess in wrestling terms you may think isn't that old, but this guy's a heavyweight who's been wrestling a very fast-paced, hard-hitting style for 15 years. And he's been coming to Morecambe and having grueling matches under huge pressure for 8.5 years. Mm-hmm. It's going to take its toll. It is taking its toll. I've told you what happened at the end of the last show. I've told you what he's going to have to do to get himself into the ring, even get himself into the ring on Saturday night. And he's facing a guy who's got no weaknesses. He's young, he's hungry, he's exceptionally talented. He's acutely aware of what breaking the streak would do for his reputation. And he's got me in his corner. And I'm telling you, I won't make the same mistakes I've made before. You may call me a poor man's Paul Heyman, but I'm going to go down in history with Paul Heyman as the man who ended the streak.
Fair enough. We'll be back in a second with a few more thoughts about what's going to happen on Saturday after this.
Don't treat me like a woman.
Okay. So, obviously we've talked about Styx and Nathan Cruz. What else is happening on Saturday?
September 17th, this Saturday.
Indeed.
We have, the first time in a long time, a 20-man over-the-top rope Rumble match, the Golden Chance Rumble. It's the first time that's happened in a long time in Morecambe. A lot of people thought we'd never see it again. I'm really looking forward to it because, who doesn't love an over-the-top Rumble? That's what I'm going to, So we've got 20 stars of Alpha Omega Wrestling. We've got some debuting people who we've never seen before. We've got the likes of the Island Brothers making their debut in Morecambe.
Afa and Sika.
Yep.
Or is it Haku and Tama?
I don't know, do I? I don't know.
Jimmy and Jay?
I don't know.
You're just mentioning brothers now.
Yeah.
But they're debuting. Yeah.
They're debuting.
Yeah. What about that opera guy? He's class. I like him. Magnificent Matthew Brooks, he's called. He's a trained opera singer,
Apparently, yeah, so I've heard.
He'll be great on the Winter Garden stage with some of the great entertainment acts that have appeared on that stage over the years, and he will add to it. And I do realise that the Morecambe fans, the only opera they're interested in is probably Oprah Winfrey. That's probably all they've ever seen. But
sick burn.
I thought you were going to go for the Go Compare advert there. That would have been probably better for you.
More than likely, yeah. But he will bring a bit of culture to the unwashed masses, no doubt. He's wrestling Unsexy Kev as well.
I was just going to say,
what a mess
Sexy
that
Kev's
is. Talk about
gonna be
Styx
ace.
being in a mess. What a mess Unsexy Kev is these days.
Come on,
I think he's coming back.
He actually, you actually look cool next to him. Lewis?
I look cool anyway. But the fact is, right, I can't help but feel sorry for Kev.
Yeah.
Okay? He's been ditched by his former tag team partner, Mr. Big.
Mm-hmm.
He's lost his mojo. He's lost his sexy vibe. I even tried a couple of shows ago to bring sexy back. I tried my damnedest. I tried I tried showing him his centerfold in Fighting Spirit magazine of him, a sexy Kev. He wouldn't have any of it. He was more interested in his train magazines.
Yeah. He makes Roy Cropper look like Danny Zuko.
I tried kind of, showing him beautiful women like our very own Lana Austin. He wasn't interested. He was more interested in offering her a bite of his leek. Just, who even does that? He had a golden up. I don't know what's going on with Kev at the moment.
He may as well just
I've got a soft spot
crawl
for
off,
him.
Crawl off with his plastic carrier bag and just go and collect bottle tops.
But hopefully he'll pick up a win this Saturday. Mm-hmm. And if he picks up a win, then he might kind of rediscover his sexiness.
I doubt that very much against the opera singer, a man of class, Magnificent Matthew Brooks. Looking forward to seeing him. He's got a fabulous mane of hair as well. What a gentleman he is. So what about this Beat the Clock challenge then to determine the next challengers for the Alpha Omega Wrestling Tag Team Championship? Who's your money on there?
It's a tough one. I don't know. We've got 4 teams, 2 matches, and basically the team that wins their match in the quickest time becomes the new number 1 contender for the Alpha Omega Tag Team titles. I don't know. I wouldn't like to say. Again, you've got the debuting Island Brothers there. We've got we've got Ryan Hunter, up and coming wrestler under the tutelage of Xander Cooper, the man for all seasons. Maybe under the tutelage of Xander Cooper, him and Ryan Hunter, there could be a tag team to contend with.
Well, Xander's gonna have to do it on his own because Ryan Hunter's next to useless. So I can't really see that, to be honest.
Have you actually seen Ryan Hunter wrestle? Have you seen his corner drop kick?
I've heard him cut a promo. That's all I need to hear.
You what?
Actually, no, I don't want to hear that again. But anyway, yes,
he's got a lot of talent. He's going places. Honestly, that kid's going places. Mark my words.
He's going
big.
places.
He's going to be the next big thing on the UK scene. I'm telling you. Telling you now.
He's going places. The only place that kid should be going to is wrestling training school and lock the door behind him and don't come out for 6 years.
I think he's already been doing that for a number of years, Greg. But I mean, we've also got James Drake's following. They're in the tag team Beat the Clock challenge.
I like the following. Yeah. And it's about time Barricade won a match, actually. I might give Barricade a bit of advice on next week's show if he hasn't managed to win.
And obviously we've got Solar Power, who have got to be the clear favourites. You've got the massive, just the incredible power and size of Cyanide.